Hello, Toby.
Hi, how are you, Louise? Good to see you.
I'm so excited to see you, but I need to do something first. I pushed my buttons and now I look like a ghost. Sorry, I don't know what I did. I pushed the buttons on my light, my light. Now I'm blue.
Wait, go back to.
I'm trying not to be
There
blue.
we go. That
Anyway,
works. There,
that's
that's the one.
okay. Hi, everyone. Now that I don't look like a ghost, welcome, everyone. Welcome, Toby. I am looking forward to talking to you. We have great conversations. So I know that people are going to love us. And we are going to talk about an excerpt from your chapter in our new book, From Trauma to Triumph. And did you see we're already number one new release?
I saw
Wow.
that. So exciting.
I don't even
Congratulations.
know how that happened. Yeah, so thank you everybody who's bought copies already because somebody must have bought copies like what? Look what happened. Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, so yeah, an amazing content in there because I know the best people, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about some of your very wise words, which let me see if I can get it and share it with people. Okay, right, there we go. No, it's what. Oh, that's a. That's we don't mind seeing that. That's our book. That's number one new release banner. Pretty, hey? Okay. So, your wise words, which we love to see, is
Mm.
what if life is divinely orchestrated to our best and highest good? I mean, I don't want to even talk about anything else. There's like there's a lot of things to talk about here. In a reality where I'm responsible for my outlook, actions, and actions, so it's responsible. I choose. I mean, I choose. There's three huge topics already there. Well, we can
Mhm.
talk for half an hour. I don't think so. And then, how do we elect to experience our world? Is a choice that we are constantly presented with. I said, where are we starting?
Mm.
And then this last sentence, this is what blows me away. We decide whether we realize it or not, with our energy, our emotions, and the state of our internal landscape. So
Mhm.
let's talk about our internal landscape. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, because I think don't we start there? Don't we go with like, okay, fine. If we have to decide with the state of our internal landscape, what should it look like?
Mm. What should our internal landscape look like?
Yeah.
Well, that's up to each individual person, but I think that everybody wants a sense of peace and freedom and ease internally. Um, so, and that may take a lot of work depending on where you've come from. I mean, the book is called From Trauma to Triumph. So,
Mm.
if we were raised in an environment where we were really traumatized in our lives, then we've got some healing to do before we can experience that peace and ease. And what I'm talking about in that quote is that we attract our experiences to us. We are never victims. And that can be really hard for some people to really swallow because there are circumstances that seem like that we're victims, that there's things outside of us happening to us. But when we take the perspective that we are in charge of our realities and that my thoughts send energy out and my emotions pull energy in, therefore with that internal landscape, how I'm feeling inside of me, what I'm thinking about creates my reality. Therefore, I am truly responsible. I will draw positive or negative, if we view them that way, circumstances to us. And really, there is no positive or negative. It's just, does it work or does it not work?
Yes. Yeah, I also don't like calling things negative or positive or wrong or right. It is it's truly is this working for me. But
Right.
what you're saying is that when our internal landscape really is going to determine how we experience things that happens to us and how we view life, how we feel life, how so if our interior landscape has not been worked on, if the trauma is still there, then we're going to see life very, very differently than when we start working on it. And I think a lot of it, what you're saying, is about that one magic switch between victim and oh no, hold on a second. I am not a victim after all. I am an empowered human being. It's that switch. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a before and there's a after. The minute you get that one, that's a big, big change in your internal landscape.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful one. And really when we realize that everything in life is a lesson and that this is, I call this earth school, right? So when we realize that earth in this life is school and it's meant for us to learn and to grow, that for me, that's my understanding of the purpose of life, is that we are meant to learn and to grow. And all these circumstances that happen to us or come in front of us, we can choose how to experience them. We can choose to be freaked out and say, oh my God, and crawl in a hole and pull the covers over our head, or we can choose to face it and to say, okay, what am I meant to learn from this circumstance? And that perspective alone has changed my entire life, has changed everything about my life. And now I really I live life voraciously. I'm like, okay, all right. I feel like, yes, there are things that happen. There are traumas that happen. Something just happened this weekend that was really, could have been really shocking and earth shattering to me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm clearly meant to learn a big lesson from it, and we'll get through it. No big deal. Like in years past, I would have still been in bed crying.
That is the place where one gets to eventually. I don't think we can explain this to somebody or say, trust you will get there. It sounds a bit superior. But it is truly there. Once you start this healing moment, you get the healing journey, you get to that time when you actually understand that you are now such an empowered human being because you started learning how to use your tools and relax into yourself and like yourself, really trusting yourself.
Yes.
That the bad shit that happens to us is just bad shit. It doesn't decimate us like before. So, Toby, I just want to recap a little bit because not all our viewers are going to have watched. They're not going to all be people who've watched the Trauma to Triumph Summit. So, you are coming from. Let's talk about your internal landscape that you arrived with. So, you came from a place where I'm too fat, I'm not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
I need to change something about myself. Do you want to describe your
Yeah.
internal landscape a little bit so people understand the transformation?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I was put on my first diet when I was 9 years old, and grew up in an environment where my looks were, there was a spotlight on my body, and I was a chubby kid, and um, I internalized that there was something wrong with me, that I'm not okay, that I have to earn love and I have to do to be loved in this world. And I had a really strong inner critic. And every time I looked in the mirror, I hated myself from a very young age. I was already picking my body apart, at the age of 10. Um, and I developed bulimia at 12, thinking it was the holy grail, that, oh my God, now I can eat whatever I want and not get fat. But that's not exactly true. And it never actually helped me lose weight. And my body was inflamed and my head was crazy. And that lasted, through a lot of struggles in my life of trying to lose weight and over exercising and being an overachiever and just try, push. That lasted until I was 35 years old. And that's like, how many years is that? I don't know. It's a lot of years. I can't do math. 24.
A lifetime. It's a
Yeah,
lifetime.
it's a
It's
lifetime.
long enough. Yeah, it's long enough to have it really embedded
Yeah.
in you so that you identify with it so much that you think this is me.
Yes, I did. I thought it was me. And I thought that my fat defined me and that I could, therefore I would never have a love. and I've had very few romantic partners in my life because of that, and then I would attract men who didn't meet me or match me. And then, I don't like to speak in hierarchies, but there is a reality to, like, when you're intellectually or emotionally matched by somebody. And I never was. And I had a lot of bad relationships because I was just seeking love. And I did a lot of, I had a lot of promiscuity in my younger years because, again, I was just, somebody please love me, because I didn't love me. And I was looking for that love externally in every way, shape, or form. A straight A student, best at work, push, 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 work the longest, please see me, somebody please see me. And that was never actually going to happen until I could see myself for who I truly am, love myself for who I truly am. And it's been a wild ride, and I'm just so grateful that I've gotten to the other side of that, and that now I can help others with that, because it's just, we truly have all the answers within. We really, really do. And that realization was mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, we have all the answers, but we don't have all the tools. That is the thing, that we need somebody to teach us some damn tools, I want to lift out one more thing there. Well, actually, not one of several from your words. So let's just go back to them there. Okay. So, what if life is divinely orchestrated for our best and highest good? Yeah. This is quite a question there. I mean, this is huge, because when you've had a traumatic upbringing, you don't believe automatically that, never mind automatically, there's this, you don't believe that life has been orchestrated for your higher good. When you've had to suffer, you believe that it's going to be hard for you. Like you said just now, you're going to have to work so hard. You're going to settle in relationships because that higher thing was something that you stopped believing in when you were small. You were desperate, you had your belief system, you prayed, you asked, and you were not answered, and it remained hard. And you lose your belief in a higher good, in a system that is good for you. So to get through this whole learning process, I think describes what you're talking about there. You get to a place where you step into yourself, and then you start understanding. But this learning is in the first place. This mess has been what you needed in order to step into yourself, liking yourself, loving yourself, self-empowerment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the very thing that made you not believe in anything good.
Absolutely. So I believe that as souls, we choose our lives, we choose our bodies, we choose our families, we choose our parents, we choose our circumstances, because we're meant to learn lessons. And whatever lessons that we didn't learn in the last life, it's like, okay, this time I'm going to put all these people in place. I'm going to put all these traumas in place. I'm going to put all these things in place so that I can learn from them and rise above them and get to a higher place. Because name one spiritual teacher, name one person that, we look up to that has not gone through a hardship. The hardship is what makes us stronger. It's what we learn from. It's what, they say builds character. But really, it's if we choose to stay in that state of victimhood, like, oh, I can't, where I came from was so hard. It was so rough. They were so mean to me. I was so brutalized, and that may be true for a lot of people that I've worked with some people who have grown up in a tremendous amount of trauma and pain and violence. And it's shocking to me sometimes that they're standing in front of me, the strong people that they are. But I do believe that people who come from the biggest hardships, when they can rise above them, they are the biggest leaders on the planet. When they can step into that space of empowerment, when they can really learn the lessons. Because again, we are attracting things to us with our energy. So we have to take responsibility and control of our thoughts and our emotions so we can create the environment that we really desire.
You also mentioned that you have a choice. We're coming again to the victimhood. And the victimhood is the big divide. It's the thing that keeps us back. But a lot of people cannot see the victimhood and the choice that sits on the other side of it. Now, a lot of people are so entrenched in their victimhood that they believe in it as the truth. But yet, there's a choice. And what you're saying is, I got to a place, well, paraphrasing, I got to a place where I realized I have a choice between this and that.
Are you asking me how I got to that place of choice?
Well, I could ask you that if you want to talk about that. Um, yeah, I think it's like how to recognize it. That's I think for lots of people from different circumstances. How do you recognize the difference between here I'm sitting in this place of victim and it's hard and there, right there, is the difference in outlook so that I can get out of victimhood.
So I think I would suggest the best way is to look at the circumstance that you're in and to say, how is this happening for me? How is
Love it.
this here to help me? What am I meant to learn? What is this circumstance or this person or this hardship meant to teach me? And how am I to grow from it? And when we start to ask ourselves those questions, then we can see different angles, see different perspectives of what's possible. I think I can probably reframe anything, almost anything. Any circumstance you give me, I can find a positive in it.
Yeah, I do that. I've had one thing which I couldn't reframe, and I still can't, and I don't actually even want to. And that was my cat that was being run over. So let's not even go there. Nobody's allowed to go there. But everything else, I've been able to, like you say, reframe and look at it and find the lesson and find the blessing, even the hardest things. So yeah, I love what you're saying. How is it happening for me? I'm saying in a little bit different way. Well, I'm trying to say it as many ways possible so that people, because sooner or later somebody's going to hear you if you keep on repeating it. If you have a rumble strip in your life of one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, it's trying to get your attention. So, and you are the common denominator in your life. Nothing else, nobody else is present in every single thing. Because if you're going to be a victim of this, you're going to be a victim of at work, you're going to be a victim of your family, you're going to be a victim of your spouse, you're going to be a victim of a postman, you're going to be a victim of a driver in the next lane. You're going to have a victim attitude overlapping about a lot of things. I also want to be clear that being a victim doesn't mean somebody walks around and be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm living." Some of the biggest victims out there are the biggest achievers, highly driven, completely, totally convinced that the only way to make a living, to go through life, is to go and show people, prove their worth. So people can be very successful with a victim attitude. And it will come out in your personal relationships. But it's that thing. You have a lot of things going wrong. What is your rumble strip trying to teach you?
Yes,
Because
absolutely. I love what you're saying about it will come back around. If we don't get the lesson, things will get it. The universe will get louder. The problems will get worse, and they will just keep happening until we pay attention. Like, what is this trying to teach me? And I love what you're saying about, some people's victimhood or lack. Maybe they're coming from a place of lack of I'm not enough, so I'm going to go out there and prove myself. Well, back to what we were talking about at the beginning, does it work or does it not work? Right? If it's working for you, great. If it's not working for you, then let's look at it and change it. Like it's not a moral issue, right? Like if we can take bad and wrong out of everything, it can really lighten things up, and give us some breathing room. Like, is it working for you or is it not? Okay, great. If it's not working, let's change some things.
Like I said, we're talking about from trauma to triumph. And so we may be talking to people in all kinds of circumstances. They may be having financial problems. They may be having relationship problems. They may be coming from a long line of abuse. They may just be feeling like they don't fit into the world because they had a hard upbringing. So all of these things, and we are talking from trauma to thrive. And we're sitting here because we've done the summit, we've done the work, we've really gone and we've worked through our traumas, and we have reframed the way that we look at stuff. Let's talk about what we think is the most important tools that somebody should acquire, look for, get without delay, find help for, if they are going to change their lives from trauma to thrive, to self-empowerment.
Well, I think when you come from trauma and you're still reliving that trauma into adulthood, and that means you're living from the past, you're not living from the present. And that's a lot of the world. And I believe that if we're human, we have trauma. So yes, there are different levels of it. Absolutely. So if you're in adulthood, no matter, whether you're in your 20s or your 60s or 70s, and if you're still living from that trauma from the past, you can live a different life. You can absolutely live a different life. So I just want you to know that you can choose differently. And honestly, I think the biggest tool is the one that we've been talking about this whole time, which is choosing that perspective, because if we're trying to change things outside of us, it's not going to work. A lot of people who are traumatized, try to control their outside environment, myself included. I'm a recovering control freak. And
hello, me too.
Right?
Right?
Like we're trying to make everything in our outside environment perfect so we can be okay, but it's never going to work. If everything in our outside environment is perfect, we're still not going to be okay if we don't work here. Right? So take a look at that. Like if you're triggered a lot, if you're walking through the world and people are upsetting you all the time, it's not the people, it's you. Right? If you're trying to control everything, it's not working. Right? So if you feel like this, like, I don't know how to describe that, like restricted or constricted or confined within yourself, that's a prison, and you don't have to live that way. And honestly, if you can, that's the biggest tool, because it's all about our perspective. And when we have a perspective shift, everything else will start to change from there. Life will teach us. Life will bring us the people that we need. Life will bring us the tools. And when we can just be open to something different than the way that we've been living. If you're unsatisfied in your life, take a breath, open up and say, I surrender. That's another tool, if we can call surrender a tool. But I think that some people have to hit a bottom before they will surrender. They will have to hit a wall. They will have to say, I can't live like this anymore. And that was me too. And my bottom was my greatest gift. And that's when I finally said, I surrender. Please help me. I cannot do it like this anymore.
I think surrender is the right word, because what it really means is I'm ready. It's been hard long enough. I'm ready, and I am now finally open because I understand something has to change. I think that's what surrender means.
Yeah.
And I think the condition that you described, where people don't quite fit into the world, it's that you don't fit into the world, and there's social anxiety that comes with it, and there's overreactiveness that comes from it, and there's a lot of stuff that has not been dealt with. So one has to become ready to go deal with this stuff, otherwise you carry it with you. And we're so scared of a process, but it's the most freeing thing that we can do. Yeah, sometimes we need help. Most of the time we need a bit of help, because it's hard to go find it. It's been hidden from us so much, but it's hard for us to find it by ourselves. We think we've dealt with it, and then boom, next explosion, But it's that willingness. Willingness is everything. You can't help somebody who have not become teachable, haven't become ready, who's not willing, who haven't said, like you said now, enough now. It's been too hard, too long. I'm ready.
Yeah. Willingness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was in a 12-step program for Overeaters Anonymous, and that was the thing that my sponsor would say to me every day. If you can just be willing today, that's it. Just be willing. Because
I
that's
love,
the openness that we're talking about.
look, I love this 12-step program. You start, my life had become unmanageable. I'm ready to hand over. You find a higher power, a help, a sponsor, a counselor, a somebody who knows more than you, and you become ready to hand over. And now you're open, and you start doing that fearless moral inventory with somebody's help. You don't just go bash yourself. That's not what it means. It means really go check it yourself. You are the common denominator right through everything else. Go check yourself. What are you missing? Not you're a horrible, contemptible person, you've done everything wrong. What are you missing? What's the lessons you're not seeing? Where where do you want more tools? Where do you want to adjust a little bit? I love it, the 12-step programs.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, so for me, one of the biggest tools out there is to, obviously, we have to grow our self-esteem. And so for me, one of my favorite things is self-love. What do you say to somebody like, you're coming from a place where you have not been able to love yourself, look at your body and go like, I'm amazing, I'm whole, I'm complete, I've been born acceptable. You, I think you used the word disgust, right?
Oh yeah.
You,
I was disgusted with myself. Absolutely.
yes. And so how do you get there? You know, so many people are disgusted with themselves.
So I think it's the case of fake it till you make it. It really, really does work. It does. I mean, it sounds very rudimentary, but it seriously works. It did in my case. I had a big spiritual experience where I had a release of my eating disorder, but then I had to maintain that, and I had to look at myself in the mirror every day, and I would only see the beauty. I'm like, I'm never going back to where I was. I am only going to see the beauty. I'm going to love my curves. I'm going to love the way I look in yoga class, next to the skinny girls. And I just started focusing on appreciating my body and focusing on loving myself when I looked in the mirror. And if any other thought came in, I wouldn't even allow it. Nope. I'm never going back to that pain I was in before, because what we focus on expands. And it worked. It really, really, really worked. And I know that I'm beautiful, and I see a beauty in myself that in the past I would never have allowed myself to even see. But it's just again and again and again. It's the hardest part is making the commitment, is making the decision to say that this is the line in the sand, and I'm changing, and I'm never going back to where I was, and I'm changing. And once you make that decision, that commitment to yourself, everything else becomes easier, and the steps show up. And really, like, self-love is what it's all about. Truly. I call mine my journey to self-love. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So just that I'm going to decide to find something that I love about myself, and I'm going to focus on it, and I'm going to repeat it again and again and again until I fully believe it, because our beliefs become our reality.
Yeah, it is. Self-love, any part of self-esteem is a decision. It's a decision.
It is a decision. Yeah.
What you say is a line in the sand. I am committed to this. I'm going to push through. The first time I'm standing in front of that mirror and I say, you're awesome. I love you. You were born perfect. You're completely acceptable. The first time you do it, you can barely look at yourself. Never mind say these words with conviction, but you push through. Because the gains at the other side, the gains are incredible. It's so worth to push through the discomfort, because we are all we have. And if we can't be our own best friend, how can we be friends with anybody else? If we can't love ourselves unconditionally, how on earth can we love somebody else? It's not possible. So, Toby, I want to just go see. Can somebody in our audience say hi to us? Just now for a moment, I was wondering if Peter was there, because the beetles in my garden thinks that the sun is shining because They made one heck of a racket, and Peter always complains about the noise. So I don't know if Peter was there, if anybody could hear the Beatles. It's not my frogs tonight. It is the Beatles tonight. So let me just check if we've got anybody watching. I can see we've got some views. I do not see enough hearts. Come, people, you know I love the hearts. Come, give us a few more hearts. And
Show the
just
love.
Yeah, love. We want love. Self-love and love for us too. And if anybody can just comment and tell us if the sound is fine. And I hope my Beatles didn't. I was listening to you so much, I didn't realize when Beatles were making a racket outside. There's nothing I can do about them. And I don't know what they're called in English.
I couldn't hear them.
Oh, really? Oh,
No.
wow. I'm so happy about it. But I hope our audience didn't go like, let me get headphones here. Okay. So let me see. Hi, Steven. Let me see. Okay, thank you. My Beatles didn't drive you insane. Peter is clearly not here. Otherwise, I would have had a complaint about my Beatles. Love you, Peter. Okay. All right. Is there anybody who has any question for Tobey about self-love? I do think you're the best person in the world to talk to about self-love. Because you know what? I mean, I can just picture you in your mind as a slightly chubby child who started hiding herself, and now you're like, wow, look at me, yeah. I'm Tobey, and I love that about you.
You can't put me in a box.
Yeah, I love that about you. And I do want to say that if you can do it, and if I could do it, because I was terribly shy and self-conscious. Anybody can do this. It's a job. It takes commitment, but it's the most worthwhile job in the world.
Absolutely. This is our lives. This is it. Yeah. This life in this formation, this is the only one that we get like this, right? So why would we live ourselves in hiding or in shame? Let that go. Let that go. When there's so much love available in the world, why would we choose shame, sadness, grief? Why?
Because we don't know any other way.
We don't know there's another option. And I didn't know, but that's why we're out here. Yeah. That's why this book, that's why this Facebook Live, that is why we're speaking about this, because we have all the options in the world. Like we get to choose this life.
Yeah. And that's why we are passionate about this, because we've come from a place, like literally every waking thought in my head was, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. And I think that's a refrain for a lot of people before you become willing to change everything, before you're willing to let in whatever amazingness is waiting there. You don't even know it's amazingness. You just know what I have on this side. I just can't do that anymore. And that is a great place to get to. If you have not been to that place, you're not going to be willing to do anything about it. If you and that, I want to say this, if there's somebody watching tonight, and you are in this place of desperation, you don't have help, you don't know where to start, and your only thought is this, I just can't do this anymore. I want to tell you, it is great. I want you to have that thought, because the next step is amazing. And there is this absolutely amazing life waiting for you, from trauma to triumph. You just have to be willing to say, okay, I'm ready, I need the help. And you said it, didn't you, Tammy?
Toby.
Tammy. I just talked to Tammy before I talked to you. Hello, Tammy. I don't know if Tammy's watching. So, but it really is true. When you become open and willing, your energy changes. There's a beauty in being broken open.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
when you're broken open, that's when the light gets in. That's a line from one of my favorite songs by Amy Steinberg.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
So that was my parting thing. That little bit. Okay. So what's your parting thing?
Oh, my parting words. You get to choose. How do you want to live this life? You get to choose. There's joy, there's love, there's excitement, there's beauty, there's all these things available for you. There's enlightenment available for you. Just, you get to choose. I suggest you choose to be open and choose to be willing. And that could mean reaching out to somebody for help. That could mean watching this Facebook Live or YouTube Live and choosing something differently than you chose yesterday or even this morning. You get to choose differently. Just be open. Be open to different possibilities.
We're asking people to trust now. Something which doesn't come easy. So I do want to say, I notice that, I know that. We're asking for trust, which is, if you've been hurt, trust is not high. But I think because we've been through the process, we are very, very sure, more than 100% sure. But it's there for anybody who gets ready.
Yes.
Okay, so our book is coming out soon. People don't rush off and buy this book today. I'm going to tell you something now. I'm going to drop the price. So don't go and buy the book. Okay. Did you hear me clearly? Okay, if you can't stop you, if you really want to have it tonight. But it's still on pre-order anyways. So don't go off and rush and buy our book. We know a lot of people need it. But wait, I'm going to drop the price and I'm going to tell everyone when I drop the price. Huh, Toby? You're going to tell everyone.
Yes. We're going to drop the price.
Yeah, we're going to drop the price because we love you and we want you to have this book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of these days, soon, as soon as Amazon updates the book, it will be cheaper, and I will tell you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Has anybody ever said don't go buy a book? Me. You'll buy it later. Okay. So please share this if you know of anybody who you know is in that place of, I just can't do this anymore. If you know anybody who's been terminally shy, if you know anybody who had huge body issues, please talk to Toby. And if you know people who are in victimhood, we're not going to believe you if you share this to them, okay? But love him because they need love.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Wait. Let me see. Okay. No, that's the wrong thing. Where did that come from now? Okay. No, it's fine. I thought it was another comment. Right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Toby, thank you so much. And hi to Tammy. Again. Bye to Tammy again. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. And lots of love, big hug. And I'm sure we'll talk some more, right?
Yes. Thank you, Louise, for the opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Blessings.